Good evening. It's now 6:30, and I call to order the regular meeting of the Victoria City Council. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on our agenda tonight is announcements. The City Council will host its annual volunteer recognition event on Monday, June 12th at 5 p.m. at the Bayfront Park and Charleston Thune Bandstand. All meetings of the City Council are open to the public and held in the council chambers at City Hall unless otherwise noted. If you're interested in speaking at a council meeting, we encourage you to contact our city clerk for more information. In other announcements, stop by Bayfront Plaza on Saturday, May 10th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. for a free bike tune-up and repair. Volunteers from Project Life Cycle, a project of a better society in Chanhassen, will work on all sizes and styles of bikes and will have a limited supply of parts and tubes to get your bike back in shape for the warmer weather season. What a great thing. All right, we have two proclamations this evening as well. The first one is a proclamation to recognize May 8th through the 12th, 2023 as Teacher Appreciation Week. Whereas teachers do their best to ensure the best learning curriculum for our students, whether in school or in a distance learning environment, working long hours and coming up with inspiring results to complicated obstacles so our students can succeed both in and out of the classroom. And whereas teachers are the key to unlocking the endless potential our children come to school with, supporting them to become well-rounded students, socially, emotionally, and academically prepared to achieve excellence. And whereas everyone benefits from educators who are empowered to lead, allowing them to best prepare young people to become contributing members of our community, thereby strengthening our democracy. And whereas teachers play many roles in our students' lives as mentors, motivators, and listeners, creating lifelong ties with their students, and that assistance and guidance stays with students long after their school days. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Victoria City Council recognizes May 8th through the 12th, 2023 as Teacher Appreciation Week. The second proclamation this evening is a proclamation declaring May 2023 Mental Health Awareness Month. Whereas mental health is important for our individual well-being and vitality, as well as that of our families, communities, and businesses. And whereas mental illnesses affect most people in America. And whereas this does not include the significant ripple effect on their families and friends. The impact of mental illness reaches families, neighborhoods, schools, the workplace. And whereas stigma and fear of discrimination keep many who would benefit from mental health services from seeking help. And whereas promoting mental health awareness in communities and erasing stigma for those seeking treatment is raising awareness around the fact that mental health services are not simply a therapist or a medication prescriber. Caring for mental health may also include services and supports that help individuals recover holistically, inclusive of their social, vocational, and community contributions. And whereas mental health recovery not only benefits individuals with mental health disorders by focusing on their abilities to live, work, learn, and fully participate and contribute to our society, but also enriches the culture of our community life. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Victoria City Council does hereby recognize May 2023 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the City of Victoria, Minnesota. Our next order of business is to adopt the final agenda. Council, can I get a motion to adopt the final agenda?
Motion to adopt the final agenda?
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We move on to our next item, which is open forum. Open forum is the opportunity for anyone to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda and not in application form that will be coming to the council at a future date. Please do not expect action from the council this evening regarding your comments, Council members may ask clarifying questions, but open forum is not intended to be a back and forth discussion. This evening, we've had 3 people register in advance to speak: representatives from the Carver County Library, representatives from our very own town baseball team, the Victoria Vics, and Representative Nash, who is also joining us for a legislative update. So starting this evening, I'd like to invite those who are here to represent the library to step up to the podium. And before you begin, please state your name and address for the record. And welcome to both of you.
Thank you. I'm Jody Edstrom. I am currently serving as the interim library director for the county system. And with me tonight is Patrick Jones.
Hi, Patrick Jones. I live in Richfield, Minnesota, but I'm the manager of the Victoria Library.
Patrick and Jody, welcome, please.
Thank you. We want to briefly talk about some of the highlights of the year of the Victoria Library and then answer any questions that you have. Victoria is actually served by 2 libraries because we have an express library as well. We got to make sure, turn this on this time. There we go. We have an express library and our regular library. Well, our biggest news was in January when we had some changes going on when we built an office, and it went well. The staff of the city communicated with us fantastically, and we were able to rearrange things without a major impact on our services. And kind of our theme for the year is community engagement. I just chose these 2 pictures. The one on the left is a young woman who came in when we decided to participate in the trick or treat event that's held downtown. And we had like 300 kids in that day. To the right is Alicia. She's our teen volunteer. And while we only have time or room for 1 teen volunteer at Victoria, it's a small thing that we do that we think makes a big difference in one person's life. And then, so that's kind of a few small things. I'm going to let Jody talk big picture, and then I'm going to come back and talk specifically more about Victoria.
Terrific.
Sure. So a big exciting moment for the system as a whole this year was reaching over 1 million checkouts again this past year. Very exciting to see after a couple of very challenging years as we all moved through the pandemic together. So a huge thanks to staff for their hard work and dedication to the patrons and communities. Some other great highlights that we wanted to share, certainly part of that was a return to in-person programming, being able to bring back patrons of all ages into our spaces, get outside into beautiful parks, do outreach in our community, and offer those programs again. We saw a 26, or actually just a little over 26% increase in our ebooks and e-audiobook checkouts, primarily through our Libby app, which is really pretty staggering, significant number. So it'll be interesting to watch that as we move forward in the year ahead. As always, we continue to work with partnerships throughout the county and throughout our communities. Some highlights were with our County Health and Human Services. We were able to bring in more Wi-Fi hotspots for that accessibility piece and be able to check those out to our patrons in our communities. We've had access to a Charles Dalkey grant fund, which allows staff to introduce new programs and services to our communities. You might notice downstairs now in the Victoria Library, as well as all of our branches, we have something called a seed library that we've launched, as well as introducing additional STEM kits for kids to be able to utilize. We have a new intergenerational services team, which is a partnership between our youth services and adult services. And one of the exciting programs they introduced was a grandparents themed program this year. And so really bringing those generations together and using our spaces and celebrating that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention we have a new 5-year strategic plan that we just launched. It's available on our website. And as part of that, our staff weighed in and we've developed something called Library Promises to not only guide our strategic work, but to guide our everyday interactions and really stay in tune with our superior customer service that we strive for every day. So some system highlights, lots more than that happening, but I'm going to turn it back to Patrick for a local look.
You want to give them that annual report?
Oh, sure. Yes, absolutely. And I have annual reports here that I can share with you as well.
So one of the exciting things about Victoria that makes it very different than our other 5 libraries is the generation of circulation out of children's materials. As a system, we average about 50%, but Victoria, over 75% of the things that circulate out of this building are children's or teen materials. That's just fantastic. I don't have any pictures of people giving customer service. I don't have Allie helping someone sign up for a library card. I don't have Kristen getting someone on Libby. I don't have Susan troubleshooting a problem, but that kind of daily customer service is really important. We introduced 2 new programs this year at Victoria. We introduced a baby story time, which takes place before the library opens, and we introduced a program pioneered out in the Western libraries called Read, Stay, Play. We do programming outside here because we have the opportunity. We use the bandstand to have a concert earlier in May. As mentioned, we're doing some intergenerational programming. This was an arts program with teens and their parents came together to do some things. We do adult programming. Here's a crochet class and a poetry class that we did. We do our winter reads program, which is like summer reading, except winter reads for adults. We do some teen programming. And then the big thing we do is always summer programming for kids. Here's Bill the Juggler. He has retired except he comes to Carver County. We do smaller programs that are arts-based, and you can see some of the results here. Here's a parent and child with art craft they did. We do Storytimes twice weekly, and we also do a program called 1,000 Books Before K to get kids to read 1,000 books before they start kindergarten. We do outreach. We went to the first senior fair where we had a couple former mayors and the current mayor get together in a picture. I cropped myself out of here because I look crazy. And then we also go to the farmer's market as well. We partner with ECFE to do a program. We partner with Every Meal to give away free meals. We partner with the county sheriff and the city fire department to do story times. We partnered with Master Gardeners and Carver County Public Parks Department to do a program as well. We have a very active, if small, friends group here at Victoria. They have never done book sales. They instituted 2 book sales last year with great results. And what's next? Jody mentioned the Seed Library, which is exciting and busy. And if you want a tomato, forget it. That's not happening. Those are gone. And then we also mentioned intergenerational programming. We're very fortunate at this library that Kristen, who's our children's librarian, also chairs the team's intergenerational programming, and Susan, who's our adult librarian, is very focused on programming. So more events aimed at bringing generations together will be happening at the Victoria Library. I wonder what else will be happening at Victoria Library. If only there was an opportunity to ask questions. Oh wait, here it is.
Wonderful. What an amazing thing you guys are doing. That was a very quick synopsis of a bunch of work that you guys did over the last year, and great and talented staff. We're so lucky to have it here in Victoria. Council, questions?
Just a comment, great way to get engaged from kids all the way up to grandparents, all the generations. That's an excellent idea. Great work.
I also serve on the city's, I never get the name of it right, the advisory city. The Senior Advisory Council. And because of them, we're going to do 3 specific programs for seniors in September. One of them is a Grandparents' Day story time to try to encourage that kind of engagement.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Such a great asset. Councilmember Evansky, anything from you?
I don't have any questions, but just rather a thank you. I mean, we sit up here and we try to figure out, ways to build community, and you guys have done it. So we appreciate that.
Boots on the ground, right?
Yeah, boots
Thank
on the
you.
ground, absolutely. So thank you for the contribution. Please keep up the good work.
All right, we shall. We thank you for having us and your continued support.
Awesome. Thanks so much,
Thanks.
Patrick and Jody. It's good to see you. Appreciate it. All right, next up, we'll be hearing from the Victoria Vics team this evening. So come on up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and tell us what's going on with the Vics.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us. I'm Butch Cavello. I'm a Minnetrista resident, but just right next door. And
I'm Troy Poppets. I live in Chaska.
thanks so much for having us. So I probably have to work this thing, don't I? Oh, maybe not.
Let me see if I can.
Okay. While you're doing that, I can pass on.
Oops, that's the library one, Claudia.
I know.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
There you go.
Go.
All right, so we've been working very closely with Dana and her team. We have a unique situation as it relates to Lions Field, or Lions Park and Poppets Field. And Troy's gonna give some detail on that a little bit later, but I thought if we dove right into the specifics of what's happening at Poppets Field, and we might have skimmed over who we are and what we do. So I thought I'd throw together a quick couple of slides on the team itself. So your Victoria Vics, thank you, Mayor, for calling that out. The team participates in Class B Town Ball in the River Valley League. We compete in the Eastern Division against the Shakopee, Burnsville, Chaska, Egan, Chan, and that's the conference we play in. We've got about 20 boys on the team, young men, and they are from the local area, most of them Chan, Chaska. We've got a former Holy Family player on the team, a boy from Eden Prairie.
We got three Holy Family.
Three Holy Family now, that's right, because of the young guys that just came up. Really good cross section of boys, most of which have played Division II or Division III baseball, or are going to be playing Division II or Division III baseball. So really good quality of ball that we have out there.
I have two questions for you before you go further. So our East Division does not include Carver?
Carver's below us there.
They're
Okay.
Class C.
Our C team, I mean,
Class
sorry.
C.
Okay, Class C. Okay, that's good to know. And then I'm curious about your team. So are these guys that come home from college in the summertime and they play ball for you guys?
Yes, so pretty young squad. So if you look at town ball as a whole, you get young men from 17 years old to 47. You get a wide range. Typically, the older crew play down at the C level, which is a little more recreational. But the Vics have a pretty young nucleus. I think our average age is probably 25 or 26 years old. So most of the young men have just either finished college or are close to finishing college. But we've just, like I said, a couple new Holy Family boys that'll be going to college next year, and so we kind of continue to update, and the older boys kind of stop coming because they have families and other time commitments.
Right. So how do you recruit new players?
Word of mouth,
Okay.
really, which is again one of the reasons why we're here in front of you. Our friends just down the road, Waconia, just built a $1.7 million new baseball facility. It's a really
show
nice
offs.
stadium, and it's a big attraction and draw for players. So kids who live in the area, the opportunity to play in a really nice stadium is one of the things. But the boys know each other. So my son is on the team, went to Holy Family, played at St. John's. And so the players now that are from the area, they're playing at St. John's. There's phone calls being made and trying to get boys to come and join the team.
Awesome.
So for the last 5 seasons, the squad has made the state tournament. And if you read the preseason polls that come out or rankings, Victoria is always in the top 10 of teams that are out there. So the Clark Poppets is our head coach, Troy's younger brother. He does a tremendous job. Troy's dad, Mike, was the head coach for us for several years, almost 30 years. He really ran the team. And again, Troy will share with you a little bit of the history of his dad and what Mike did for the organization. He recently, you guys are probably all aware, you recognize the name. He was a Community Builder Award recipient this past year for his 30-year commitment to not only the program but to the park and rec community and upkeep of the fields. And upkeep is probably an insult to your dad. All of the, how he built the baseball stadiums across all of Victoria. In addition to that, Mike served as an advisor to the state town ball board and really advised them on over a 25-year period, and was obviously a member of the local Lions Club for over 20 years. So rich history. I think when you see Fox 9 News do their town ball tour every year, you're like, why aren't we on that? Just especially because of the history. And I think someday, excuse me, we will be. We're working toward that. So I mentioned we've had some great partnership with Dane and team. Excuse me. We've had some challenges with the field and who takes care of the field and the difference between maintenance and upkeep and excuse me, I think we're working through a lot of that, putting some things on paper. So we have a good plan, but For us, we're looking toward the future. So our vision, where we'd like to eventually take the field is to build a Chaska, Chan, Laconia-like stadium in the location at Poppets Field where it is right now. And I apologize in advance if the boys made as many errors as I did in creating this slide. We'd probably put them on the bench. So I apologize for the typos. But like I said, mentioned, most of the towns have a field or stadium, and we don't here in Victoria. and there's so many benefits in addition to just the town ball team playing there. You build a stadium like this, you get state youth tournaments. You have the ability to host the town ball tournament, and all of that drives traffic into the community, consumers into the community, revenue for the businesses, all the things you would expect that from having those types of events would work well for Victoria. And the way we've designed this project is we've turned it into a multi-seasonal facility. So we're looking at having year-round activities underground in what we call the ball tunnels for batting practice, softball practice for boys and girls, throwing opportunities. So when it's cold outside, there's nowhere for the kids to work out that play spring sports. They can do that underneath the facility. The way we've got the concession area designed, it can serve as a warming house in the winter for the ice rink, which just sits right next to it. So some thought went into, how can we potentially increase the use for the city of the facility. We're in the process of getting 501c7 approval, so we can become a nonprofit organization. Close to getting that done, and then we can start to collect donations. Obviously, something of this magnitude, the Waconia one, a little bit bigger than what we like to do, was $1.7 million. So it's a massive fundraising initiative. So we're not there yet. We're looking at a potential phased approach. I should put potential in there because you will have to approve it. Potential phased approach, but little things are happening. So you're going to vote, I think, later on. We're donating a press box to you. We've donated, built an equipment shed. So there's several things that the Poppets family has done and the team has done over the last few years and in the partnership with the city. So the phased approach, I think, will be the same as we move forward with this project, but not the purpose of why we're here today. So just wanted to share a little bit of that. I think we'll schedule and come back at a later time and talk more about this specific project. But that's the Victoria Vix. Troy's written a letter, just kind of give you a little bit of history. So I'm gonna let him take that over, and then we can answer any questions you guys may have.
Thank you, Troy.
Hi, thanks.
Baseball. All right. To whom this may concern, this letter is to express the concerns I have verbally expressed to the city officials many times over the past 2 years regarding the lack of city-private partnership regarding Poppets Field. As these remain ongoing concerns, and as there are changes within the city council membership, I believe it is important to provide context to the significance of Poppets Field. Let me provide some background. In 1983, my father assumed leadership of the Victoria baseball program. And the team and the field became his all-consuming passion. He not only devoted his virtually every waking moment to the Victoria baseball, he donated all his savings to build and improve the team's field. When he died, he had no assets. His family assumed his burial costs. Throughout the years, my father consistently spearheaded efforts to improve the park. When the city moved the baseball field from Lions Park, So originally, that was wrong. So first we were at Lions 1, which is over by the Lions Den. So back in the day that didn't have a field, so if you hit the road, it was a home run. It had a wood grandstand with a press box in it. That was taken down later, I think in the 90s or something, because it was old and decrepit. So from that location, then he talked to the city and he got some people to donate some time, and he built the new field where Poppets is now. It's field, what is it, Lions Park Field 4? So, okay, now I can say this. The city moved the baseball field to Lions Park. I was 12 years old and helped my dad with the physical labor, seeding, fencing, building the dugouts, etc. Later, the city moved the team to yet another site, and again, my dad constructed the dugouts and otherwise sought to make that field the best in the county. Unfortunately, those efforts went moot when the city, having determined that the site was inadequate because it could not be illuminated for night games, returned to the field as its original Lions Park locale. So that was D-Town, where the city moved us to D-Town. It was gonna be a brand new park, and my dad helped design it, and then we put the dugouts and stuff in, and then, I don't know, there's something about, wasn't wordage that it was gonna be illuminated, and then the development went around it, so they didn't light it.
Right behind it at D-Town, they didn't want the lights, or it wasn't zoned for lights, so, city moved the team back to Poppets.
Back to
Field.
Poppets Field.
Lions 4 at the time.
So, all right, where was I? Sorry. Again, my dad and team members, families devoted to the time, talent, and treasure to make this new field a desirable site. We very much appreciate the city naming Poppets Field after my father in 2006. Although my brother and I don't share our father's all-consuming passion for Victoria baseball, out of respect for my dad, my brother and I together and members of the baseball community have continued to donate time and finances. Most recently, I've spent $6,000 for the professional design of the grandstand. I've already provided you with numbers demonstrating that the annual value of donated time and funding support is $15,000. To view it another way, over the last 6 years, my family and team have spent about $100,000 to support the field. Despite repeated requests for financial assistance, the city has done nothing beyond cover the utilities, some fertilizer, and now repair the fence. This is not enough. Although I'm happy to help support the team and certainly want Poppets Field to be the best in the county, I'm not willing or able to devote my life and savings to the extent my dad did. Maintenance of the field, which the city is its owner, should always have been assuming remains one-sided. This should at least be a partnership. Our support should no longer be taken for granted. Once again, I repeat my request to the City Council, prepare a budget which includes a reasonable amount of funding for the maintenance of the baseball field. Although private generosity will undoubtedly continue, there should be a reliable and reasonable fund to properly maintain that which already exists, thanks to generosity. Any possible savings from the city provided funds could accumulate to provide seed money to help support further field improvements. As always, I remain eager to continue to discuss a proposed budget with the city official who is willing to give me the time. Surely there are others who speak to maintain and improve quality of this facility, which does much enhance the Victoria residents' quality of life.
Thank
There
you.
go. All right.
For all the years, all the time, all the money.
Yeah.
And we will certainly be discussing this with city staff. So
Thank you.
thank you for coming, and good luck on your season this year.
We start May 13th, and we got a 30-game schedule, so excited to play ball and come on over to Lions Field.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. And I see Representative Nash not in attendance here again this evening. So, all right, with that, so we'll skip over that. If he shows up, we will give him a moment at the podium. But is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council this evening on an item that's not on the agenda and not in application form? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the next agenda, on our next item on our agenda, which is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are routine, administrative, and do not require deliberations, or are housekeeping items that are required by law. Consent agenda items are approved with one vote unless someone requests an item to be considered separately. Ms. Hardy, does staff wish to pull any items from the consent agenda this evening?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
All right, any member of the council wish to pull anything?
No, Mayor.
And is there anybody in the audience who wants to pull something from the consent agenda? All right, seeing no one, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion for the balance of the consent agenda.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are now moving on to our regular agenda, and there are no items on our regular agenda this evening. So with that, we will move on to reports and emerging issues. Attorney Vos, you're up first. Anything from you?
I don't, Mayor, thank you.
All right, Ms. Hardy, anything from staff?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick note that the city just learned that we were a recipient of the Distinguished Budget Award, which through the Government Finance Officers Association is the highest award that we can achieve in governmental finance. So I just wanted to congratulate council and our team here for all the good work that we've done in preparing a budget document that is award-winning. So congratulations.
Awesome news. Congratulations. All right, council, anything from council for reports this evening?
None for me, Mayor.
None for me.
All right, I've got nothing either, so there are no more items to come before the body this evening. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We stand adjourned.